everyone, welcome back to Extra Rise English Podcast, the show that helps you level up your English one real conversation at a time. I am Mia.
And I am Leo. So glad you are here.
Okay, so today we're doing something a little different. Today is a scenario episode, which means instead of one big topic with multiple subtopics, we are walking you through one complete real-life situation from beginning to end. And the situation is the airport.
The airport, one of the most English-intensive environments a non-native speaker will ever walk into.
Right, because at the airport, you do not get to prepare much. The conversations happen fast, there are queues behind you, officials are waiting for your answer, and if you say the wrong thing or misunderstand something, the consequences are real. You miss your flight, you get pulled aside for extra screening, you end up at the wrong gate.
The stakes are real, and yet almost nobody prepares for airport English specifically. They figure they will just manage.
And then they get to the check-in counter and the agent asks something they did not expect, and they just kind of nod and hope for the best.
Which is how people end up with window seats when they ask for aisle.
Or no meal, or separated from their travel companion by 12 rows.
All real things that happen to people every single day.
So today we are fixing that. We are going through the entire airport journey in English. Check-in, security, boarding, and arrival. 4 stages, the exact phrases you need at each one, and a drill at the end so you can practice before your next trip.
By the end of this episode, you will walk through any airport in the world speaking English with complete confidence. Let us get into it. This is segment 1, why airports are so stressful in English.
Leo, why is the airport specifically so hard? Because I have met people with very strong English who still freeze at the check-in counter.
Right, and there are a few reasons. The first one is high stakes plus time pressure. Every conversation at the airport happens under a kind of invisible timer. There are people behind you. The agent is waiting. The boarding gate closes in 40 minutes. That pressure makes your brain go into emergency mode. And in emergency mode, the language you are least confident in is the first to disappear.
Yes, it's like I know this vocabulary perfectly when I'm calm, and then the moment I'm stressed, it's just gone.
Exactly. The second reason is unfamiliar vocabulary. Airport English has its own specific language: boarding pass, gate, terminal, immigration, customs, duty-free, overhead bin, bulkhead seat. If you haven't encountered these words before in a real context, they can throw you off even if your general English is strong.
Right. I remember the first time someone asked me if I had any prohibited items, and I just stared at them because I knew the word prohibited, but my brain couldn't process it fast enough under pressure.
And the agent is already moving on to the next question while you're still processing the first one.
Exactly. And the third reason, and this is the one that catches most people, is that airport conversations are not really conversations, they're transactions. There's a very specific set of things the agent needs from you and a very specific set of things you need from them. It's not small talk, it's not a negotiation, it's an exchange of specific information. And knowing exactly what that information is and how to ask for it and give it confidently is what makes the difference between a smooth airport experience and a stressful one.
Right. Once you know the transaction, the language becomes easy because you're not wondering what they might ask you. You already know. Let's go through it stage by stage. This is segment 2, the 4 stages. Stage 1, check-in. This is your first interaction at the airport, and it sets the tone for the whole journey. The agent needs 3 things from you: your passport or ID, your booking reference, and your baggage. And they're going to ask you a standard set of questions that almost never changes.
Okay, what are those questions?
Did you pack your bags yourself? Has anyone asked you to carry anything on their behalf? Do you have any dangerous or prohibited items? Are you checking any bags? Window or aisle? These are the core questions. And here's the thing, even if you didn't catch the exact words, you can almost always guess what they're asking from the context of the process. Someone at check-in asking you a yes or no question about your bags is almost certainly asking one of those 5 things.
So even if the exact phrasing trips you up, you can make an educated guess based on where you are in the process.
Exactly. Context is your friend in high-pressure situations, and your responses are simple. Yes, I packed everything myself. No, I'm not carrying anything for anyone else. No prohibited items. I have one checked bag and one carry-on. And for the seat, aisle tease, if possible, or window, please, ideally not near the back.
The is possible and ideally are doing important work in those last sentences. They signal a preference without being demanding, which makes the agent more likely to actually try to accommodate you.
Right. If you say, I want an aisle seat, it sounds like a command. If you say, aisle please, if possible, it sounds like a polite request. Same outcome you're looking for. Very different energy.
And there's one more check-in situation that trips people up. When the agent asks, how many bags are you checking? And you want to confirm what the allowance is. A lot of people just nod and hope they got it right. But it's completely acceptable to ask, sorry, just to confirm, what is the baggage allowance for this flight?
Absolutely. Just to confirm is one of those phrases we talked about in our professor episode. It signals that you were paying attention and just need a small clarification. Nobody's going to be annoyed at that question. It's a reasonable thing to ask.
Okay, stage 2, security. This one is shorter, but it has its own specific language. The agent or officer at security will give you a series of instructions. Remove your shoes, take out your laptop, place liquids in a separate bag, step through the scanner. These are almost always delivered as short commands, not questions, commands.
Right. And the key thing to know is that you don't need to respond verbally to most of them. You just do what they say. But if you don't understand an instruction, it's completely fine to ask, sorry, could you repeat that? Or, sorry, could you say that again more slowly?
Right. Security officers give those instructions many times a day. They're used to people not catching them the first time. You're not being difficult by asking for a repeat.
And if you get pulled aside for additional screening, which happens to everyone at some point, the officer will explain what's happening. The key phrases to know are, is there a problem? And can you explain what you need me to do? Both of those are calm, professional, and give the officer the opening to communicate clearly with you.
Right. You're not challenging them, you're just asking for clarity, which is all anyone needs in that situation.
Exactly. Stage 3, boarding. This is where a lot of people get anxious because boarding calls happen over a loudspeaker and airport audio systems are notoriously unclear.
I have missed so many pieces of boarding announcements because the speaker was crackling or the gate agent was speaking too fast.
Same. So here's the thing to know. Boarding announcements follow a very predictable structure. They'll say the flight number, the destination, and the boarding group or zone. Something like, this is the final boarding call for flight PR 502 to Singapore. Passengers in rows 20 to 35, please proceed to gate B14.
So even if you only catch one or two words, Singapore, gate B14, rows 20 to 35, you have enough information to act.
Right. You don't need to understand every word. You need to catch the key information. Flight number or destination, gate number, your row or boarding group. If you miss any of those, go to the gate and ask. The phrase is simple. Excuse me, I'm on the flight to Singapore. Can you confirm the gate number?
And at the gate itself, when the agent scans your boarding pass, they sometimes ask questions. Are you traveling alone? Do you have any carry-on bags? Is this your first time flying with us? All of those are simple conversational exchanges, and your answers are short. Yes, just me, one carry-on, it fits in the overhead bin, first time, yes.
And if you're asked to gate check your carry-on because the overhead bins are full, the agent will say something like, we need to check your bag at the gate, it'll be waiting for you at the jetway when you land. That last part, waiting for you at the jetway, is important. It means your bag will be right outside the plane door when you arrive, not at baggage claim.
Which is the kind of thing that panics people if they don't know it's coming, but once you know, it's completely fine.
Exactly. Stage 4. Arrival. This is the final stage, and it has two sub-stages, immigration and customs.
Okay, what does the immigration conversation sound like?
The officer will ask a standard set of questions. What is the purpose of your visit? How long are you staying? Where will you be staying? Do you have a return ticket? Your answers should be short and specific. Tourism, 2 weeks. At the Grand Hyatt in the city center. Yes, I fly back on the 20th.
Short, specific, confident. You're not giving a presentation, you're answering questions. The shorter and clearer your answers, the smoother the interaction.
Right. The officer is not looking for a conversation. They're looking for specific information that matches your documentation. Give them that information clearly, and you'll be through in 30 seconds.
And for customs, most airports now have a red and green channel system. Green means nothing to declare. You're not bringing in anything taxable or restricted. Red means you have something to declare. If you're not sure, go to the red channel and ask. It's always better to declare and be cleared than to go through green and be stopped.
Always. The phrase is, I'm not sure if I need to declare this, can you advise? That phrase positions the officer as an expert whose guidance you're seeking, not a gatekeeper you're trying to get past. That framing changes the entire dynamic of the interaction.
Right. You're not trying to sneak through. You're asking for help doing the right thing, and most officials respond very well to that framing. Okay, listeners, 3 phrases. Just to confirm, could you say that again more slowly, please? I'm not sure if I need to declare this. Can you advise? Say those out loud right now. Pause. Say them. And honestly, if you're listening to this right now and you're thinking, okay, I actually did not know most of those airport phrases before today, that's exactly why we make this show. We take the real situations that trip people up and we break them down before you need them. If that's useful to you, subscribe so you never have to walk into one of these situations underprepared again. New episode every week. All right, segment 3, the drill. 4 airport scenarios, 1 for each stage of the journey. Leo handles each one. You say it with him out loud. Let's go. Ready?
Ready.
Okay, scenario 1, check-in. You're at the counter. The agent scans your passport and asks, did you pack your bags yourself and do you have any prohibited items? And then immediately asks, window or aisle? You want an aisle seat, but you're not sure if there are any left. What do you say?
Yes, I packed everything myself and I do not have any prohibited items. And for the seat, aisle please, if possible. If there are no aisle seats available, anything in the middle section is fine, just not the very back if you can help it.
Perfect. He answered all 3 questions in the right order. Bags, prohibited items, seat preference. And notice, if possible and if there are no aisle seats available. He gave a preference without demanding, and then he offered a backup. Anything in the middle section is fine, which makes the agent's job easier and makes them more likely to try to find him something good.
Right. Agents are people. If you make their job easier, they usually try a little harder to help you. Say those answers out loud now. Yes, I packed everything myself. Aisle, please, if possible. Go.
Scenario 2, security. The officer is giving you instructions quickly while looking at a screen and not fully at you. You catch, remove your laptop and place it, and then you miss the rest. What do you say?
I would say, sorry, could you say that again more slowly, please? I want to make sure I do everything correctly.
I love that last part. I want to make sure I do everything correctly. It's such a smart addition because it tells the officer immediately that you are cooperative and careful. You are not being difficult. You genuinely want to follow the procedure. That one extra sentence changes the entire energy of the request.
And the officer will almost always slow down and repeat clearly because that sentence just told them, this person is on my side. We want the same outcome here.
Say that out loud. Sorry, could you say that again more slowly, please? I want to make sure I do everything correctly. Go. Scenario 3, boarding. You're at the gate and you heard most of the boarding announcement, but you missed whether they called your row. The gate agent looks busy. What do you say?
I would walk up to the agent during a brief pause and say, excuse me, I just wanted to confirm, I'm in row 24. Has my row been called yet?
Perfect. He didn't interrupt. He waited for a pause. He used just to confirm, which we've talked about multiple times now and which keeps coming back because it's that useful. And he gave his specific row number, which makes it easy for the agent to give him a direct answer instead of having to ask a follow-up question.
Right. The more specific information you give when asking a question, the faster and more useful the answer will be. Excuse me, has my row been called is a good question. Excuse me, I'm in row 24, has my row been called is a better question.
Because it cuts out an entire back and forth exchange. Say that out loud. Excuse me, I just wanted to confirm, I'm in row 24. Has my row been called yet? Go. Last one, scenario 4, arrival, immigration. The officer looks at your passport and asks, what is the purpose of your visit and how long are you staying? You're traveling for tourism and you're staying for 10 days. What do you say?
I would say tourism. I'm here for 10 days. I fly back on the 15th. I have a confirmed return ticket.
Short, specific, complete. He answered both questions, purpose and duration, and then added one piece of information the officer is likely to ask next anyway, the return ticket. By volunteering that information before being asked, he speeds up the whole process and signals that he has nothing to hide and everything is in order.
Right. Immigration officers are looking for specific information. The faster and more clearly you give it to them, the faster you get through. Volunteering relevant information is not over-explaining. It's being efficient. There's a big difference.
Say that out loud. Tourism. I'm here for 10 days. I fly back on the 15th. I have a confirmed return ticket. Go. Okay, listeners, go back and say all 4 responses out loud. The check-in responses, the security repeat request, the boarding confirmation, and the immigration answers. Say them out loud. Say them until they feel automatic. Because at the airport, you don't want to be thinking about what to say. You want it to come out naturally while you're also managing your luggage and your boarding pass and your passport and your anxiety. That's why we practice now, so the language is ready when you need it. And one last thing before we wrap up. Wherever you're going, Extra Rise is coming with you. Extra rice, too, if you can fit it in your luggage.
Please declare it at customs, though.
Ha! Always declare the rice. Always. Okay, wrapping up. Here's your one thing from today. The airport is not a test of your English. It's a transaction, a series of short, specific exchanges where both sides want the same outcome, for you to get where you're going smoothly and efficiently. Once you see it as a transaction instead of a performance, the whole thing gets easier. You know what they're going to ask, you know what you need to say. You have the phrases, now you just have to use them.
And your assignment for this week, even if you're not traveling anywhere right now, practice the 4 stages out loud. Check-in responses, security repeat request, boarding confirmation, immigration answers. Say them in your room. Say them in the shower. Say them until they feel like something you would just naturally say. Because the best time to practice airport English is before you're standing at the counter with a queue behind you.
And if this episode helped you, if it made your next trip feel a little less intimidating, share it with someone who has a flight coming up. Not because it helps us, because that person is probably already anxious about the airport, and this episode is exactly what they need right now. Be the one who sends it to them.
And if you want more of this every single week, subscribe. We'll be here.
All right, thank you so much for being here on Extra Rise English Podcast. And remember,
because one serving of English is never enough.
See you in the next episode.